What if the next major XRP cycle is already beginning to take shape right in front of us, while most investors are still distracted by fear, uncertainty, and short-term price action? The truth is that some of the biggest opportunities in crypto have historically appeared when sentiment was at its lowest, when trading activity dried up, and when most people had already convinced themselves that the market was finished. Welcome back to XRP Update, your trusted source for the latest XRP news, market developments, and long-term crypto insights. Today we're diving into a topic that has a lot of investors paying close attention: the possibility that XRP could be preparing for another massive cycle similar to what we've seen multiple times throughout its history. While nobody can predict the future with certainty, the patterns from previous market cycles continue to draw attention, and many investors believe the next major move could already be loading beneath the surface. If history rhymes the way it often does in financial markets, the coming years could look very different from what we're seeing today. Before we move forward, do me a quick favor and hit that like button. It really helps the channel reach more XRP supporters and allows us to continue bringing you the latest updates, analysis, and market insights. Your support means everything, and every single like helps spread this information to more members of the XRP community. If you're excited about the future of XRP and want to stay informed about every major development, make sure you're subscribed and have notifications turned on so you never miss an important update. Also, make sure you watch this video all the way until the end, because some of the data we're going to discuss today could completely change how you view the current XRP market cycle. Many investors focus only on today's price movement, but the bigger picture often tells a very different story. By the end of this discussion, you'll understand why some market participants believe XRP could be setting up for another explosive run, and why patience may be one of the most valuable assets an investor can have during times like these. One of the most interesting observations about XRP is how it has historically behaved after major bear markets. Looking back through previous cycles, XRP has repeatedly experienced enormous drawdowns followed by equally impressive recoveries. The numbers are difficult to ignore. Following deep bear market lows, XRP has often delivered gains that exceeded 1,000%. That's the equivalent of turning a $1 investment into $10 before accounting for any additional upside. While some analysts believe future returns may be more modest than previous cycles, others argue that growing utility, institutional participation, and regulatory clarity could support another significant expansion phase. Regardless of where someone falls on that spectrum, the possibility of XRP returning to levels such as $5, $8, or even $10 continues to capture attention throughout the crypto community. At the same time, broader economic developments remain a major part of the conversation. Inflation continues to be closely monitored across the globe, and central banks are facing increasingly difficult decisions regarding interest rates and monetary policy. Investors understand that liquidity plays a huge role in driving risk assets higher. When liquidity contracts, markets often struggle. When liquidity expands, capital frequently flows back into growth sectors such as technology and digital assets. Many XRP supporters believe that once current macroeconomic uncertainties begin to stabilize, capital could once again seek opportunities in digital assets with strong utility narratives. This is one of the reasons long-term investors remain focused on developments beyond daily price fluctuations. Recent inflation data from various parts of the world has only added to the debate surrounding future market conditions. Rising producer prices, higher energy costs, and ongoing concerns about supply chains continue to influence economic expectations. Markets have become extremely sensitive to inflation reports because every major data release can impact interest rate forecasts. Higher inflation can pressure central banks to keep rates elevated, while cooling inflation may create room for more accommodative policies. Crypto investors are watching these developments carefully because shifts in monetary conditions often have significant implications for liquidity, investor confidence, and overall market participation. Energy markets have become another major variable in the global economic equation. Geopolitical tensions, supply disruptions, and transportation challenges have all contributed to uncertainty regarding oil prices and energy availability. Historically, rising energy costs can ripple through nearly every part of the economy, affecting manufacturing, transportation, consumer spending, and inflation metrics. For investors, these developments matter because they influence how policymakers respond and how markets price future growth. Every major geopolitical event has the potential to create short-term volatility, but many long-term investors focus on how these developments eventually impact liquidity and capital flows across financial markets. Another topic generating discussion among everyday investors is the real-world cost of living. While official inflation numbers often receive widespread media attention, many consumers focus on what they personally experience. Housing costs, food prices, transportation expenses, and insurance premiums all contribute to public perception about economic conditions. Investors frequently compare official reports with their own experiences and ask whether the data accurately reflects reality. This gap between reported figures and public sentiment often creates uncertainty, which can lead to market volatility as participants attempt to determine the true state of the economy. Geopolitical developments have also remained at the center of investor attention. Markets continue to react rapidly to headlines involving international conflicts, trade relationships, and diplomatic negotiations. We've seen how a single headline can trigger sharp moves in stocks, commodities, cryptocurrencies, and currencies within minutes. Algorithms, institutional traders, and retail investors all respond differently to breaking news, creating sudden swings in market sentiment. While short-term volatility can be frustrating, experienced investors understand that major market cycles are usually shaped by broader trends rather than individual headlines. When we shift our focus specifically to crypto, one of the most fascinating indicators is investor participation. During bull markets, excitement is everywhere. Social media explodes with optimism, new investors flood into the market, and trading volumes surge. During bear markets, the opposite happens. Activity slows dramatically, interest fades, trading volumes shrink, many participants leave entirely. Historically, these periods of low enthusiasm have often coincided with some of the best long-term accumulation opportunities. While fear dominates headlines, experienced investors frequently pay attention to what happens when nobody else is paying attention. The psychology of market cycles is remarkably consistent. Near market tops, everyone seems interested in crypto. Friends, family members, co-workers, and complete strangers suddenly want investment advice. Stories of quick profits dominate conversations. Confidence reaches extreme levels. Yet when prices decline, those same conversations disappear. Enthusiasm turns into skepticism. Investors who were celebrated during bull runs are often questioned during downturns. This emotional cycle repeats across nearly every asset class, and crypto has proven especially vulnerable to these swings in sentiment. Looking at XRP specifically, its historical performance reveals a pattern that many investors continue to study closely. After significant corrections, XRP has repeatedly demonstrated an ability to recover with remarkable strength. The famous rally during the 2017 cycle produced extraordinary returns that likely won't be repeated at the same scale. However, subsequent cycles still delivered substantial gains despite being smaller than that historic move. This is important because it suggests that investors don't necessarily need another once-in-a-generation rally to achieve meaningful returns. Even a fraction of previous performance could represent significant upside from current levels. One detail often overlooked is how severe XRP's previous corrections have been. The asset has experienced declines exceeding 80%, and in some cases even deeper. These drawdowns tested the conviction of investors and caused many participants to abandon their positions. Yet after each major correction, XRP eventually found support and entered new expansion phases. This pattern doesn't guarantee future results, but it provides historical context for understanding why many long-term holders remain optimistic despite periods of extreme volatility. Some analysts also track economic indicators such as purchasing managers' indexes and broader business activity measurements to identify potential turning points in market cycles. These indicators can offer insight into economic momentum, manufacturing activity, and business confidence. Interestingly, certain economic cycles have shown correlations with major turning points in financial markets, including cryptocurrencies. While correlations are never perfect, investors continue to monitor these relationships because they may help provide context for future market conditions. If XRP were to experience another significant expansion phase, the potential price targets naturally become a major topic of discussion. Conservative projections often focus on a return to previous highs or modest new highs. More aggressive projections look toward levels that would require substantial adoption, liquidity, and market participation. The important point is that even moderate percentage gains from current levels could represent meaningful returns for investors who accumulated during periods of weakness. A move toward $5, $8, or $10 remains a commonly discussed scenario among many XRP supporters. For many investors, the appeal of XRP extends beyond short-term speculation. They view the asset as part of a broader transformation occurring within global finance. Developments involving cross-border payments, institutional infrastructure, regulatory clarity, and blockchain-based settlement systems continue to drive interest in the long-term utility narrative. Whether these developments ultimately justify higher valuations remains a matter of debate, but they are central to the investment thesis held by many members of the XRP community. The challenge, of course, is patience. Every market cycle tests conviction. Investors often find it easy to remain confident during periods of rapid gains, but maintaining that confidence during prolonged consolidation or declines is far more difficult. History shows that major opportunities frequently require time to develop. Markets can remain irrational longer than expected, and price action can remain frustrating for extended periods. Yet those who understand the cyclical nature of investing often focus less on daily volatility and more on long-term trends. As we wrap up today's update, the key takeaway is simple. Nobody knows exactly when the next major XRP move will begin, but many of the conditions that have historically preceded significant rallies are once again drawing attention. Low sentiment, reduced participation, ongoing macroeconomic uncertainty, and long-term utility developments are all contributing to the conversation. Whether the next cycle delivers 5 times returns, 10 times returns, or something entirely different remains to be seen. What we do know is that market history has repeatedly rewarded those who stayed informed, remained patient, and focused on the bigger picture. Thank you for watching XRP Update. If you enjoyed today's discussion, be sure to like, subscribe, and share this video with fellow XRP supporters. As always, stay informed, stay patient, and we'll see you in the next update.